I keep shouting on top of my voice about how bad, how irritating, how annoying, how I was let down by my MBA experience at the University of Delhi. But there are few facets to it as well, which are actually much better off when you compare it to the rest of the institutions. एक ये है कि भाई academic rigor का कोई मारा-मारी as such नहीं है. You don't have surprise tests thrown at your face. You don't have a lot of tension when you go about with your submissions. वहाँ पे थोड़ा-सा lethargy, थोड़ा-सा laxity आ जाता है. But when you talk about वो जो internal external वाला ratio है कि भाई 70:30, वहाँ पे थोड़ा-सा you again see the academic emphasis going. But ऐसे when I talk of the classes, भाई एक हफ्ते में there have been many weeks जहाँ पे एक हफ्ते में cumulatively there have been less than 14 classes. That is basically 3 क्लास से भी कम हो रहे हैं दिन के for 5 days in a row. So that is again something that you would really be a part of कि भाई chill है, उतना भी rigorous scene नहीं है. But again, that in turn raises question marks कि भाई syllabus complete नहीं हो रही, people are rushing through syllabus और question papers एकदम tough आ रहे. And what do people do with that? So yeah, it's pretty double-sided, ये double-edged sword है, but in a way, in more ways than not, an MBA from the University of Delhi is far more relaxed than what you'd be doing in an IIM. Except for the fact that you'll have to compromise on entrepreneurial pursuits. I'll keep telling this again and again. Entrepreneurial pursuits, getting to hone yourself out of like-minded individuals, और even landing opportunities of your liking. अगर ये 3 चीज़ों पे तुम्हें बस relax करना है, अपने नाम पे डिग्री लेनी है, then absolutely go for it. With that, we come towards far more important points about the MBA experience at that business school. In the hurry, in the what do you call in the process of trying to speak a lot about what's wrong with the entire this thing experience of doing an MBA from DU, I'm missing out on a very core emotion that there is something essentially wrong. There is something fundamentally wrong with doing an MBA from DU. One, because the way the course is oriented, you see, if you do a PGDM from the rest of the IIMs, if you do a PGDM from any private university as well, they have an emphasis on management, not as a field of research, not as a field of, say, academics, but as a field of professional development. That is what the course is viewed as. But when you compare it with the University of Delhi, especially the college that I was a part of, it was viewed more as a means of honing academic capabilities. You see, and the way I support that is because the emphasis on the external examination, for example, what is the process with the rest of the MBA institutions? They're okay. You score almost 60% in your internals, 40% is what you'll be marked for your externals. But in DU, it boils down to you scoring just 30 marks in your internals, out of which 10 are for attendance, and 20 marks for PPTs, Vivas, and whatever test that you can be a part of. And the remaining 70 marks come off of an examination that's proper pen and paper. Now, it is a different ballgame. It is a different story altogether. That question paper is always going to be a sum of all the PYQs that have been asked in the past 10 years. But the point that I'm trying to make over here is the fact that this entire emphasis is being shifted from a different route of learning to a pen paper based academic mode of learning, which is again a little surprising that, okay, these are individuals who are 25, 26-year-olds, and these guys are having to go through that same mode of academics again, same mode of education again. So that is one point. Second point, when it comes to the age-old adage that, okay, pedagogy is something that will go about defining centuries and generations to come, the core flag bearers of the department are to an extent talented, but the way they impart their education, the way they make sure that the rest of the individuals are actually getting to be better economists, be better statisticians, be better econometricians, that is not actually taken care of at a level that it should be taken care of. Now, here is where I'll give you a reality picture. The competition is even worse, the pedagogy is even worse when you compare it with the rest of the IIMs. Because IIMs में क्या होता है, you're supposed to be of a certain proficiency, you're already expected to be of a certain level, and there's no room for you to catch up with the rest of the class, with the rest of whatever the professor is saying. यहाँ पे the professor at least gives you that leeway कि भाई तुम थोड़ा सा तो ऊपर आ जाओ, but I would say that that to a great extent is still limited. The second point, if I set aside statistics, economics, and econometrics, 3 or 4 professors, the rest of the ad hoc faculty, now this is where DU is again letting all the students down. The ad hoc faculty is always not of the highest quality. Now I tell this with great, conviction that, okay, if I talk of all the people that taught me marketing, that taught me relevant subjects in marketing, in quantitative methods of management, in various fields where most of them were ad hoc faculties. 3 out of 4 faculties, or probably 5 out of 6 faculties, are not of that quality who are responsible to be giving education to MBA kids. Your responsibility as a professor, your responsibility as a lecturer is not just putting a PDF in front of you and reading one line, one page, one word after another. It all boils down to how you can impart relevant experiences onto the kids that are seated right in front of you, or not knocking your doors for extra amounts, but who are actually knocking your doors to become better individuals, to become better at management per se. So that was again a big, big, big emphatic question mark on the quality of education. Thirdly, when it comes to the entire vibe of the fact that you're getting to do an MBA. So, okay, let me draw 2 pictures. In one case, you're doing an MBA from, say, I'm Calcutta, I'm Lucknow, I'm Ahmedabad. You're a part of the hostel, you're a part of that vibe that, okay, 2 states is a very bad example. I do not want to sort of fall back onto that example, but you get to do an MBA from a cohorted place. You're sharing your cohort with a lot of people. That brings a lot of issues as well, but on a certain extent, to a certain extent, that's still fine. You get to sort of get along well. It's a memorable experience. Now compare and contrast this with once you're in what do you call the University of Delhi, you're doing an MBA, you do not have access to hostel facilities. Only 10% or lesser of the batch get to access the hostel, either based on reservation or based on CAT scores. So that is again a big question mark as to why the facilities are not in place. Two, when you're not having those facilities, you get to live in the vicinity, and the vicinity of the campus is in shackles. You can't imagine the kind of situation that you would find yourself in. It's a very basic saying that, okay, if you want to hone the real beast out of yourself, you have to live in, say, difficult circumstances. Difficult in the sense that, okay, you are not going about there struggling for food, struggling for survival. But that is exactly what the case is. If I talk of the exact reasons around there, the rents were super high, like you had to pay 15,000 or more for a single room. And then also about the food availability was a big, big, big issue across that entire area. There were frequent cases of food poisoning, etc. Even me, I was afflicted to hepatitis just because I was relying on all the food that was being served from the rest of the vendors. So that is again a very big problem when it comes to pursuing an MBA from University of Delhi is the availability of hostels. Now, if I set aside even the fact that, okay, I'm at least pulling along with that area in my vicinity, I'm doing something for the sake of doing it. But when you sort of go about trying to be a part of that academic rigor, the entire scheme of events, when you walk your way to the college, the campus is really beautiful. That is something that I'd like to give to all the colleges of the University of Delhi. The campuses are absolutely wonderful. But in the name of a business school, all you get is a couple of rooms, or probably 4 rooms at best. You're not getting an entire campus to yourself. It is a campus of the entire university where all the students from different, different professions, different courses assimilate together, and then they go on with their courses. So MBA is treated just like any other master's course when it comes to University of Delhi. That is again something that you'll want to ponder over. Lastly, when it comes to, say, the very purpose why you were doing that MBA was to get a job. Now, when I talk of how the jobs are skewed, I'd start off by saying that when it comes to summer internships, there is a big, big, big chance that you'll not land a summer internship altogether. I would say that less than 10 kids get placed in companies that they really want to get placed. And what am I talking of? I'm talking of a batch of 110, 120 people. So less than 10% get placed in a company that they really would want to work for. 10 kids, of course, get placed in the BAP of all brands, ICICI Bank, the one bank that has all the cash in the world. It wants to employ all the relationship managers in the world. Don't know कितना अच्छा होता अगर हिंज विंज पर भी ऐसे relationship managers on board हो जाते. It would have been way different. But ICICI Bank is the next recruiter कि भाई 10 what do you call people are onboarded for summer internships from that. Apart from that, the rest of the batch goes empty. None of them have access to, say, some good, legit proper summer internship that would allow them to convert that into PPO. So वो तो side of the summer internships का तो game ही अलग है. But when I talk of final placements, now when it comes to final placements, if you're lucky that one single company comes onto the campus and you're happy कि भाई मेरा top 5 बच्चों में हो गया. If you're a little disheartened कि भाई ये company नहीं आ रही, there's another company which offers 60% of the CTC that's promised in the first star company. But even then, people are satisfied कि नहीं भाई मेरा इसमें हो गया, the market is that way, okay. But after these two companies go along, after these two companies, are done with their placements, there's an array of 6 to 7 companies which do not offer more than 10 LPA, which do not offer more than 10 LPA and sort of onboard 25 to 30 kids at best. So this is again a phenomenal question mark on how the placements are being carried out. Again, placements is a student-driven activity, so I wouldn't blame the students for it, but I blame the market conditions and how people affirm their faith in such institutions and call it ROI. All this ROI drama, all this ROI nonsense goes to wane when you look at the fact that okay, less than 50% of the batch is actively getting placed, and more than 50% is not getting placed. So all your ROI drama comes out to be a big negative. And now, if I set aside the fact that okay, placements maybe there's a lot of skewness. Um, what else do we have to talk about? The placements are taken care of. The pedagogy is taken care of. What else do I talk about in my MBA series? Foreign exchange के नाम पे कुछ भी नहीं है. But I wouldn't want foreign exchange, at least in a place where I'm paying less than ₹1,00,000 of my fees. That will be too much to ask for from an MBA program. But you should ask for that. IITs में होता है शायद. I'm not sure. IITs में होता है कि नहीं. They also pay ₹1,00,000 a year. So it's a little too much to ask for when it comes to foreign exchange. But okay, foreign exchange भी नहीं है. What else? When it comes to, say, okay, let me talk a little bit more about the vibe of the campus, the people that you're sharing your cohort with, the people that are actually going about being your classmates. You would never sort of get that feeling that, okay, people are reasonably talented, people are reasonably trying to get ahead in life or actualize their potential. That is the word, actualize their potential. But there are over 90% of the kids are just here for the sake of getting a 10 NPA, are just here to make 70 to 80,000 a month. There is no other objective they have in their hand. There's nothing else that they want to think about. There's no way they want to engage in an entrepreneurial pursuit, regardless of how well learned or well talented or well honed they are. That is what the reality is. I struggled with the aspirations. I struggled trying to even find somebody of a liking towards entrepreneurship or of showing proclivity towards going about in pursuit of entrepreneurial activities. There was absolutely nobody. And even people that I knocked the doors of, there was nothing that came about it. And that's again a big question mark as to what the individuals of the society, of that specific cohort make for. The same old Raghuram Rajan quote that if you want to be a better person, you have to surround yourself with people who are exponentially better than. Uske alawa to yaar, that's pretty much it. When it comes to my review about pursuing it from the University of Delhi, I'd say that all in all, okay, this question, a random person asked this question in the comments ki bhai, should I actually go for a private college instead of DU and not care about money? क्योंकि भाई मेरे तो 90% है, मेरी कोई IIM कन्वर्ट हो नहीं रही है और मेरे पास ऑप्शन ये है कि या तो मैं यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ दिल्ली में आके सफ़र करूँ या तो मैं कोई प्राइवेट कॉलेज में एटलीस्ट लाइफ तो एंजॉय करूँ. आई वुड से वहाँ पे द डिस्कशन गेट्स वेरी ट्रिकी. व्हेन आई वाज एक्चुअली मेकिंग द कंपैरिजंस, आई वाज सेइंग कि IIM कैप में अगर आप 20 लाख रुपए खर्च कर रहे हो और आपको कुछ मिल रहा है 95 percentile, if you're actually taking University of Delhi or IIM cap, then that might not be extremely reasonable. But when I'm talking of you comparing it with the rest of the private colleges, जहाँ तो भाई कुछ पता ही नहीं है क्या तमाशा हो रहा है, that will get a lot trickier. But again, when I talk of private colleges, well, I was working at Dun & Bradstreet as a management guy. I had people from the rest of the very, very, very unknown colleges. Yeah, Jims Rohini, पता नहीं कौन से Jims Rohini, there was some other bloody business school as well. यहाँ पे ऐसे ही 70-75 परसेंटाइल में हो जाती है. वहाँ के बच्चे are also landing 15 LPA, 18 LPA यार. वहाँ के बच्चे are also landing से एकदम कम से कम 8-9 LPA भाई एशियन बिल्ड्स उठा के नहीं जा रहे हैं. And in what? In marketing and sales. At least they're able to land opportunities in marketing and sales. When it comes to the department of, I shouldn't be taking the name of my department. When it comes to the University of Delhi, वहाँ पे सीन ऐसा है कि भाई या तो तुम डेटा एनालिस्ट बन रहे हो सीधा एक स्टार कंपनी में जहाँ तुम्हें वापस कोई लाके खींच ही नहीं सकता, या तो तुम निठल्ले बैठ के बेरोजगार रह जाओ यार. There's no in between for marketing and sales. There's no what do you call opportunity for any other field altogether. Data analyst, core data analytics के 3-4 roles आएंगे. That's it, done. बाकी सारे roles अब more on the operation side, more on the administrative side. So that is again a big question mark. कि भाई how are the private colleges, how are these colleges that जिनके नाम भी नहीं पता, they are managing to get 8, 10, 15 LPA. of marketing and sales roles? That is a big question mark again. But koi nahi, when you're in such a situation where you're actually wanting to think, in those situations, what I'd say is कि भाई कोई भी कॉलेज अगर आपके कंसिडरेशन में है, there's some college from F, right? कौन सा है जो 90 परसेंटाइल पे हो जाता है विच बेस्ड नियर कोतो कॉम्प्लेक्स, पता नहीं नाम नहीं यार, F कौन सा है यार, पता नहीं, whatever it is. अगर वैसे कॉलेजेस में you have an interest, so I would say that talk to somebody and ask them the percentage of batch that's getting placed. Don't ask them the median package. Don't ask them the average package. Talk to them about the exact percentage of the batch that's actually getting placed and the least amount of package that a student is getting to draw. अगर ये दोनों चीज तुम्हें पूछ के then you're sorted. And a lot of audited, what do you call, documents released by Excel or IIM Ahmedabad, I found that as well. कि least package क्या, that's very admirable. That's something that all the institutions should aspire to release. So अगर ये दो चीज़ें sorted है and then you feel कि भाई 10-15 लाख ऊपर नीचे जा रहे हैं, मुझे कोई ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ता, then you might take that dip. But if you're with the mindset कि भाई चलो यार अब जैसे तैसे MBA निकालना है, साथ में comparative government exams भी देते रहूँगा, I'll have a backing and I can bet on my intelligence कि भाई कुछ ना कुछ तो हो जाएगा, then you can take that risk. Then you can absolutely take that risk. Baki, I'll be more than happy to take up questions, yaar. Anything that you want, you can reach out to me always via the comments, via my LinkedIn, via my number to bhai, aise, I wouldn't be giving it out. But of course, if you have any questions whatsoever, I'll be more than happy to take them. So in my last video, I gave a brief preview about how it is like to pursue an MBA from the University of Delhi. For starters, if at all my opinions seem a little far-fetched, if at all my opinions seem a little polarizing or far from reality, I would like to give a disclaimer that I was the candidate who got into that college as a part of the last admission list, as the last candidate. I was supply who flunked classes for as long as he could remember. My entire first year, I had a attendance percentage of less than 50 or probably even 40. When it comes to my second year, I was even struggling during those times because I was not able to prolong myself. When it comes to the fourth semester, I was down with liver failure, which is why I missed a lot of classes. But in reality, I would always say that before making your choice, because I'm saying all this because I got a few comments and a few replies saying that is it really that bad a college? Should I not be going ahead with it? Should I be taking a private college instead? So I would say whatever you're consuming, whatever you're digesting out of this video, you should be taking it with a pinch of salt. This comes from a sore loser. This comes from the fact that, okay, this guy went about not even attending classes, not even scoring marks, but he's just crying it all out. So keep that in mind. But it's up to you. It's up to your rational mind if you get to decide if the cries, if the points that I'm making are rational enough or not. But do not blindly follow me.